Jaszy with modernhippiemag.com, your online source for hip, healthy, conscious green living and environmental sustainability. Once again, we are in the kitchen with Natalia of Glowing Temple, and we've got some yummies prepared, or we're going to prepare some yummies. But first, how are you, Natalia?
I'm doing great.
Are you?
Yeah.
Now I understand you got some new things going on. What's going on in your life these days?
I do. There's always something. Right now, I'm entered into a contest through Living Light, which is the raw food chef school.
Ooh.
And they're calling it Hot Raw Chef. So
Which you are.
Right. So I submitted a video for one of my favorite recipes, which I was kind of keeping, on hold until my book, but I was just ready to let it go. So yeah, if you want to vote for me, you can go to hotrawchef.com and cast your vote.
Oh, okay. So we can vote for you how many times?
You can vote for me once per email address.
But we'll make sure we get that information on the site so that you can vote for Natalia being our hot raw chef.
Thank you.
So what do we got planned for today? What kind of yummies are we going to be preparing?
Today we're making spicy citrus broccoli.
Spicy citrus broccoli.
Yes.
Okay, so
I have always been totally into Chinese food, and before it would be sort of like orange flavored chicken or beef or when I was younger. But now it's just sort of taking the essence of that, the sauces, the spices, the flavors, and just tossing it up with really fresh, crunchy veggies.
Okay, so tell me, what are some of the ingredients before we get started?
We're using some sesame tahini. That's like a raw sesame butter, basically. We're gonna use that. That's the body of the sauce. We're gonna use some coconut aminos. If you don't have that on hand, you can use tamari or namashoyu. That's the soy sauce of this. We have a little honey to sweeten it up, and one of the things that really gives us a really knockout flavor is orange zest.
Ooh.
So that's going to be our citrus, and rather than sort of making a really runny sauce with orange juice, we can use the citrus and the zest of the citrus, and that's really going to send this over the top.
How do we do the zest thing? I don't know how to do the zest thing.
So that's basically taking just the orange skin of the orange. You don't want to get down to the white pith because that's really bitter, but the essence of the flavor is so intense. So what I use is the microplane, and this is a tool you can get at any of your favorite kitchen supply stores. And you just want to take it and you just run it. You don't really want to go more than once in the same spot, so you just kind of keep turning, and you see it's not really getting down to the white. It's just kind of getting the orange. So we'll just do that real quick. I want 1 teaspoon of this, so we'll do about the whole orange.
Very fragrant.
Yes. So it's a really nice way. I do it with lemons and limes too, for some desserts and things where you want that really strong flavor, but you don't want to make it more liquidy with the juice.
So it's just that simple.
Just that simple.
I'm a bit afraid of the zest.
Yeah, there's a couple other, similar tools, but I like the microplane best because it's really going to get it nice and fine, and after this, you don't have to chop it any further.
I'm looking forward to when we go shopping with Natalia, and we can show me some of these little gadgets I should have in my kitchen.
I know, I'm totally obsessed with kitchen tools. All right, let's see, we should have our teaspoon now.
Oh, look at that.
And I really pack it in there to measure. Perfect. So we can save a little bit for another recipe. So I'm gonna add that then. We have 3 tablespoons of the raw tahini. We can add our zest. And we'll add some of our liquids. I have 2 tablespoons of cold pressed sesame oil.
Now, typically sesame oil you find in a lot of Asian dishes. Is it because of the flavor, the taste, or why?
Yeah, definitely that flavor. Normally they use a toasted sesame oil, which does bring out the flavor a little bit, but because we're doing a raw food, I go with the cold pressed, and it still has a nice flavor. It's just a little milder. 2 tablespoons of my coconut aminos. I have 1 tablespoon of raw honey. I always loved that Chinese food that was like a little bit sweet, a little bit salty, and everything in between. I have 2 cloves of garlic and also a 1/4 teaspoon of fresh ginger. And I also grated my ginger on the microplane.
Of course you did.
So it really, gets it nice and fine so that ginger can be really spicy, so you're not biting into like a really big chunk. And I have a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, just because I find that coconut aminos is a lot less salty than your typical soy sauce. So if you are using like a tamari or a namashoyu, you might want to omit that. A 1/4 teaspoon of chili pepper, that's our spice. You can go up from there, but I like to keep it, you know, you can always add, but it's really hard to take away. So that's the base of our sauce. It's pretty simple. If you want to mix that up a little bit for me.
Now, once we have the sauce, is this something that can be refrigerated and used at another time?
Absolutely, yeah. And it's even, you know, I chose broccoli because that's sort of something that's in my memory of Chinese food, but you could really toss any veggies in here that you wanted or use it as a dip.
Ooh.
Fabulous.
Oh, it smells so good.
Yeah, I love that orange. So now we can toss in our veggies. I have 2½ cups of broccoli, and I tried to slice it really thin. You know, we're not cooking this, so broccoli can be really fibrous. So you want to make sure, you know, it's nice and crunchy, but not giant pieces. So mix that in. And then just for some nice contrast of color and some sweetness, I have a 1/2 cup of diced bell pepper.
Ooh, I love bell peppers.
Yeah.
I find that they're sweeter than green peppers.
Absolutely. And a green pepper is honestly an unripe pepper. So I love to get that sweetness from the red or the yellow or the orange. And they're actually easier to digest than the green ones.
Now, would you have this as a lunch meal or dinner meal? What is this
I'd
typically
probably
for?
do it as a side. All right, and then I have 2 small scallions. Toss in there.
I love how the colors just... You know, I know you like to get in with your fingers.
I didn't do that with this one. It's all good.
Okay.
And finally, we'll add some sesame seed. We'll add about 2 tablespoons, and I'm going to save the last tablespoon for garnishing, so you can mix it in, and then we can put it on the plate. All right, I think it's time for a taste test.
Way ahead of you. I'll let you do your magic.
Sure, I'll sprinkle some sesame seeds on top. They really mix in with the sauce, so it's nice to have that as a garnish. Beautiful. So another option for this recipe, if you're really hardcore into raw food like me, if you have a dehydrator, you can place this in the dehydrator at about 105 degrees for 3 hours, and it'll soften the broccoli a little bit and warm it. So
really?
Yeah, when I'm really like craving that texture or a little bit something warm, you can do that. It's just as good without. The flavors are amazing, but it is an option.
Okay, here we go. That is good.
Can you
Wow.
really taste that orange?
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I was a little skeptical. I'm not so big on the broccoli, but that is really, 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 really good.
Yeah, I totally have a new love for broccoli when you really dress it up with a really nice flavored sauce. I'm all over it.
You are in for a treat. This is really good. Wow. Wow. So, okay, now I have another raw recipe to add to my little collection. Thank you again.
You're welcome.
Thank you again for joining us for another episode of In the Kitchen with Natalia. Please excuse me, I'm going to finish this.
Yeah.
Wow.